That life is God. That life is perfect. And that life is my life now. So continuing on, I have an extra blessing for those who have financially supported us from the beginning of the COVID and continually do so. Another blessing goes out for anyone, whether regularly or not, supports our church. And another blessing for those who see the need, love the church, who haven't quite searched their pockets because of their own need and financial ability. And finally, I bless those holding their money close to their heart because they haven't seen the power of giving. I bless Reverend Jerry holding us in love and support during these trying times. I bless Karen. Although sketchy at times, she has held our church together financially. Yay. I guess that's in a prayer. I bless Jerry, who's speaking today on the here and the now. I also bless all those through heartache, frustration, and trying over and over again who have mastered New Nuggets, a place where congregants have gotten to know each other on a love basis. And so it is on that love basis that I honor all those holding our lives together with their knowledge and hard work to keep us healthy and whole. And so it is. So today I read from my favorite guy, Thich Nhat Hanh. It's called Bringing Our Sitting with Us into the World. If you begin to feel the security and protection that arises naturally from sitting in meditation, you may be reluctant to leave this state. But we can't continue to sit forever. We can continue our mindful awareness in every action, in how we walk, talk, and work. In this way, we engage fully in life and are able to bring joy to our relationships and our world. So we follow with a 3-minute meditation. So today I have 2 chimes with 2 different chakras. So what I ask is that you take a breath and continue breathing in a nice full breath during the sound of the chimes. After 3 minutes, I will chime us back in. As Deepak Chopra says, I'll mind the chime.
Oh my God.
Alex, you're unmuted. You're muted. So, Alex, there you are. You're
There.
unmuted. I think you got muted. Are you okay?
I'm fine. I don't know how I got unmuted. I know how I got unmuted.
Oh, good, good, good. So, can I mute you now before I go into my talk?
You may. I'll mute myself.
So, good morning to everyone. Wow, this has been an amazing week of challenges for many people. Some have had health challenges, and some have been wondering what's going on in our capital. And then some have really also been wondering what's going on with continued increase in COVID, and COVID infections are increasing and deaths are increasing. At the same time, there's a rollout of vaccines into the first tiers of people. And so people are really wondering what's next. We seem to be in a time of chaos. And here I am, I'm talking about being in the here and now. And you might be asking, what's up with that? Well, hopefully you'll stay tuned and you may find out. And we have an important birthday, though, coming up this Thursday, January 21st. He would be 134 years old that day if he had lived past his 73rd birthday. He left the planet over 60 years ago, and his influence is still felt today. I'm speaking about Ernest Holmes, our founder, who lived from January 21st, 1887 to April 7th, 1960. And according to Wikipedia, he was an American New Thought writer, teacher, and leader. And what you know is he was the founder of our movement known as religious science, part of the greater New Thought movement. And the philosophy is known as the science of mind. One other thing you might not know is that he was the founder of Science of Mind magazine, which is still in continuous publication since 1927. So this third week of January often is dedicated to revisiting the third part of the introduction to the Science of Mind text. And it's titled, What It Does. Now, I think that it's helpful to understand what it does while facing all of our challenges and practicing staying in the here and now. Sometimes we forget those 3 points made by our founder, Ernest Holmes, when he made these statements in the introduction to the science of mind. And these challenges we face call us to prayer and remembering our oneness and the power of our word. And it's about letting go of our judgments, our resistance, and our attachments. His 3 points were: love points the way and the law makes the way possible. His second point is cosmos is an orderly and harmonious universe. And his third point is we receive only what we are ready to receive. So I really want to emphasize that love points the way. The law we're talking about is the law, universal law. But it's our love that sets it in process. And the cosmos is an orderly and harmonious universe. And that's really important because when you look into the heavens and you look into the universe, you can be amazed at how all of that is held together. And that is the same in our daily lives. It is all being held together regardless of appearances. And his third point is we receive only what we are ready to understand. That is so important because when we don't open up our minds to actually take in this great power that we have within us, when we remember who we truly are, we can't have all the good that is available to us. Margaret Storts, many of you know her. She spoke here many times. She wrote, "It is ours to trust in a divine presence that knows us as a part of itself." Do you get that? It is ours to trust in a divine presence that knows us as a part of itself. You are one with this powerful divine force. And then she went on to say, when we bring our vitality into our relationship with the divine, it must respond to us in a vital way. So you are in a relationship with the divine. It was written in the Science of Mind text that the divine mind is infinite. It contains all knowledge and wisdom, but before it can reveal its secrets, it must have an outlet. We are the outlet. You and me and everyone else, we're all the outlet. All the wisdom of the world is within us. And as we look around in present time, we might see we haven't been good caretakers of this amazing thing called life. It's time to put our ancient wisdom and knowledge to use. This year's theme is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And this month, we're going to continue to explore the ancient and sacred wisdom that science of mind has drawn upon and begin to contemplate that trajectory of our movement and our individual consciousness. We stand on the shoulders of giants and we can see to new horizons. Today's message asks us to pause and reflect. Pause and reflect as we begin our journey through this year, and invites us to take a moment to take stock of where we are as we plan the route. Upon using spiritual practice and present moment awareness, we take a genuine and deep look at where we are right now in ourselves, in our communities, and on our movement. In our global theme, we speak of evolutionary vision. We envision humanity awakening to this its spiritual magnificence and discovering this creative power of thought, a world where each and every person discovers their own personal power and ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. When we contemplate timeless wisdom, we believe that the ultimate goal of life is to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. Do you get that? From all discord of every nature? That's what we're talking about. I read this recently from a Facebook advertisement on the future of spirituality. It was a Sounds True series by Ken Wilber. He wrote, if the Buddha, Saint Teresa, or an enlightened shaman walked into the room today, would they find themselves in need of some serious spiritual catching up? The surprising answer, says Ken Wilber, is yes. So you are not alone in getting caught up. That is why it is said that we are open at the top. The advertisement went on to state that integral evolutionary thinkers today are seeing a burst of accelerating shifts in human consciousness, in our emotional and cognitive lines of intelligence, our creative and moral capabilities, of our senses of self, and more. So as I mentioned in my last talk a couple of weeks ago, we in religious science are open at the top. We are that outlet. All the wisdom of the world is within us. And I want to make a few points to illustrate and illuminate these ideas or concepts. My first point is power is the now. Power is in the now. We might say principle is not bound by president, but this lets go of the past and brings our attention to the present moment. So regardless of what's been going on in our personal lives, or the life of our country, or of our planet, it cannot prevent us from moving forward unless we let it. We are in the driver's seat of our lives, and we control the gas pedal and the brake. So ask yourself, where is your foot resting, on the gas or the brake? It's up to you to decide. This ties in so readily with my spiritual practice recently of non-resistance and non-attachment. Of course, the universe says, oh yeah? Is that really your state of mind? Let me give you a challenge to test that out with the excitement of the politics and the current situation in the capital of our nation. The universe always responds with a little test here or there. And are we waiting to receive our COVID vaccine? All of this stresses us out. We can forget about our center. So I think I shared with you some basic ideas of Ernest Holmes a few weeks ago, but perhaps they bear repeating today when we talk about the power and the here and now. And it was excerpted from the basic ideas of Science of Mind. It's in the current January 2021 Science of Mind magazine on page 77. So if you have the magazine, you can get it. If you don't have it, check with Alex. She'll be happy to sell you a copy at the bookstore. So we have within us as power that is greater than anything, he writes, we shall ever contact in the outer, a power that can overcome every obstacle in our life and set us safe, satisfied, and at peace, healed and prosperous in a new life. So he also writes, and the ability to control our experience and have them result in happiness, prosperity, and success lies in your own mind and the way you use it. That means you control your own experience. You are really in charge of your affairs and the way they are to develop. I think that is the hardest thing for people to understand. We are responsible for the thoughts in our mind. We can control the thoughts in our mind and train our minds. And the thoughts in our mind materialize in our life experiences. So as Ernest Holmes said, change your thinking, change your life. If you don't like what's showing up, look at what you're thinking. And Dr. Holmes also tells us spirit can only give us what we can take. And trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. The power is already within us. We must acknowledge it and be confident in using it. And the only time we can do this is in the now. The power from the past has already been used. The power of the future is waiting for us to get there. We must start now. So I ask you, are you willing to train your thoughts? Recognize the power you have within you and use it to create the life you desire? So here are 3 things you can use this, how you can use this power. Know without a doubt there is a power for good in the universe and you can use it. Know without a doubt there is a power for good in the universe and you can use it. The second point is you must be specific about the good you want. Create the mold and let spirit fill it. And have faith in God and faith in the power of the word. We might think of it as being analogous to how electricity works. It's all around us, here to serve us for whatever our needs may be. Heat, light, power. It's always been here and available, but it had to be personally discovered and directed to be of a benefit. Electricity needs a way to be channeled to be of value. It comes from an infinite source and it's personalized through a space heater, a toaster, a computer, a lamp. The possibilities are endless. But when our electric lights work partially or not at all, we know that the lack of power is not in the universal and the infinite eternal flow of energy, but in the wiring that connects us with that flow. It's just a problem with the circuitry. There is some kind of blockage or the wires aren't connected properly. It can also be as simple as not flipping the switch on the lamp. So where are you in that? Are you have some blockage to having the power of the divine work in you? Are you checking out your mental circuitry? You can heal yourself. So the second point is pay attention to moments of awareness. Most of the time, I'm busy. Or maybe I should say, I feel busy. I imagine I'm not alone. Many of us feel this way, even during this pandemic when we're staying at home, many of us, but we're multitasking. And some of us are trying to get work. Some of us are going to work, and some are taking care of children. Some are taking care of home repairs. They're going on doctor's visits, all of this. And we try to keep our life in balance. So through all of this, allowing myself moments of awareness is an important part of my spiritual practice. For me, it means paying attention. A butterfly crosses my path and I stop and allow myself to really experience it and its beauty. Or I'm walking along the stream in my apartment complex and I stop to watch the ducks. Not just watch or look, but really immerse myself in the experience of nature. I'm sure you've had moments like this as well. Yet what I also know is that I miss many moments because I feel busy at times. How about you? In The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes wrote, a passive meditation will never produce an active demonstration any more than an artist can paint a picture by sitting down with his paints, but never using them. We call that in Science of Mind, we must treat and move our feet. We must pray and then take action. An artist doesn't sit down with his paints and never use them to paint a picture. Do you get that connection? You are the artist of your life. Be an active painter. Many people think Science of Mind is an intellectual process or practice, but they forget what Ernest Holmes wrote in his textbook, Love Rules Through Law. He wrote, as we gain this broader viewpoint and we see that the life must contain two fundamental characteristics, we shall see that there is infinite spirit operating through an infinite immutable law. And this cosmos and not chaos finds an eternal existence and reality. Love points the way and the law makes the way possible. It almost sounds like a song, doesn't it? And the law won. You can see why I don't sing for a living. The law that we're talking about here is the universal law, not the one that wears a badge. And it's good to be really clear on how we direct it, how we direct this power. For instance, a couple was celebrating their 40th anniversary and also celebrating their 60th birthday. On the eve of this great celebration, a magic fairy appeared before them and said, because you've been such a loving couple all these years, I'm going to grant each of you your heart's desire. The wife said her greatest heart's desire would be to take the romantic vacation of a lifetime with her loving spouse. The fairy said, poof, it is done. And they found themselves on the shore of the French Riviera. The fairy then asked the husband what would be his heart's desire, and it would be instantly granted. He paused for a moment and he said, well, honestly, I'd like a woman 30 years younger than me. And poof, he was 90. So Training our minds and mindful of our words is essential to the desired outcome. I'm reading this book by Michael Ivanov, The Mount of Olives, has 11 decorations to an extraordinary life. The writing of the first few chapters, it reminds me of Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist in its narrative style. Some of you may have read The Alchemist. But anyway, in this story of in the Mount of Olives, Felix is a mute orphan growing up in Rome, feeling he is a burden to everyone. His name is Lucky and Successful in Latin, but he did not feel like it. He has dreams of joining the Roman army to make money, buy land, and plant olive trees and sell their fruit and become wealthy. His dreams are supported by the only girl in the orphanage who speaks to him of olive trees. Sometimes, she said, they take 5 to 8 years to produce fruit, but when they become ripe, they produce an abundance of fruit. He would one day do the same with his life, he said. When Felix reaches 17 years of old, he has to leave the orphanage and he travels to a coastal city where he meets a wealthy Arab trader, Hazig, who is drawn to him and says to Felix, you know, changing your location will not change your situation. Many like you, they're running somewhere they think will get them a better life, only to face again one what they once left behind. So how many of us can relate to that? That we think we'll change a spouse, we'll change a home, we'll change a job, and we'll think that it'll bring to a better life. But it depends on the motivation for why you do those things. So be careful with your words. Aziz invites Felix to join a ship in the book as a lookout for pirates on the ship's journey to Jerusalem and to sell garments for the upcoming festival. On the first night, Aziz joins Felix on his lookout post and shares the first of 11 decorations for an extraordinary life and gives Felix a blank book to write his teachings. Aziz tells Felix about the olive tree that is barren for many years before it produces fruit, but does not feel it has failed. That the olive tree does not ask what it will become in life, does not tell itself that it will never amount to something. So how are you like the olive tree in your thoughts of yourself? Do you know you are perfection already, whole, perfect, and complete? When he's in the third chapter, they talk about removing all doubt in our minds and the self-destruction in the way we think and speak to ourselves. And we have given up on ourselves, some of us. Instead, what Aziz talks to Felix about, he said, you speak lies to yourself. You told yourself the lies of others until you believe them. You told yourself every reason for why you aren't capable, and you quit telling yourself why you are. How many of us listen to what others say about us, and we believe them that we are less than? Felix thought back to what his dreams of growing up with olive trees were still so alive in his heart. That joy he felt when he would dream and plan all he was going to do. He would be wealthy and he would show the world that his disability did not make him less of a man. Now, sitting in the ship, those feelings began to creep back in ever so slightly. So I want to share with you what Felix wrote as his declaration of number 1. Words spoken set life in motion, because it's really important. The power of our words, are in our prayers. And he writes, I will listen diligently to every word my mind tells me, and I will interrupt it. I will judge it with a seriousness that I would the most heinous crime. Every thought that is distractive and speaks against what I seek will be cast out as if it was the disease of my mind. I must silence any evil that comes from my mind, as the universe is listening. It is listening and waiting to take action with the same force that moves mountains and with the same winds that dash waves onto the rocks. That same breath which taught the sun to burn with violence and the moon to cool the night is waiting for my voice. And until now, I have only robbed myself with my words. When my mind speaks death, I will speak life. And I will yell the words spoken against me until the voice in my mind becomes an unstoppable force, now speaking for me. Soon the two voices will speak in union, the two will be one again. I will speak life because words spoken set my life in motion. Ernest Holmes, our founder, writes something very similar to all of this and reminds us that we must become conscious of our desire. He wrote, the one who wishes to demonstrate some particular good must become conscious of this particular good if he wishes to experience it. Therefore, he must make his mind receptive to it, and he must do this consciously. My third point is be grateful. You don't have to create the wheel. You don't have to save the world. How important is it that there is within us that is ready and willing to do the work? Dr. Holmes also tells us the law of the universe are to be trusted. The laws of the universe work for us, through us, and as us, according to our predominant beliefs. It's our beliefs in our mind. These laws contain all the knowledge, and we don't have to create the power. We just have to acknowledge it and use it. My favorite way of acknowledging it is to be grateful. Grateful for this ancient wisdom, grateful for this principle and the tools of science of mind, grateful that I attracted all of this into my experience, grateful for the one life that we are all living. And I practice my gratitude every day. When I write my gratitude statements in a journal, they can be brief and to the point, and they are powerful because it lets the universe know that I love the experience that I'm getting by using the universal law to create the life I desire. How about you? You have that same power. You have that same capacity to show your gratitude, which is like priming the pump. That's an old saying when we used to have pump and well water, and we'd have to pour a little water in the pump before we pump it to bring up the water from the well. So prime your pump with the thoughts in your mind. Emmett Fox wrote, there is nothing in the universe that you cannot do or be if you are mentally ready. Are you mentally ready? Ernest Holmes writes almost the same idea as Emmett Fox. He said, therefore, if a person is seeking to demonstrate, they must tell themselves that they have faith in their power, in their ability, in the principle, and the certainty of the demonstration for which they work. Faith, being a mental attitude, is according to law. And even though one doubts, they can overcome their doubts and create the desired faith indefinitely. What they must resist is that added thought after they know all that, after they pray, is if they add, well, I certainly hope and it does, because that negates everything. Because it implies your lack of faith. So be strong. Make assertive statements, for you know what you want in your life. That power is within us to create this life we want. We are this channel for God's good to be personalized and realized. And even the Bible has it in the Psalm 119. We are like a lamp, and that the divine good shines through us. Our word is a lamp under my feet, a light for my pathway. Think of that. But the difference between us and the lamp is the lamp can't do anything about its situation because it has no ability to act for itself. It has no individualized intelligence, no self-awareness. But we do. We decide and direct how this power will be used through us and as us. We do this by having a clear intention, by speaking our word with faith and clarity for the good that we desire, and by letting the light of God shine through us. We have that ability to self-correct and self-connect. And just as we have that faith that each time we flip the switch on the lamp, the light will come on, through our daily spiritual practice, we build faith to know that our word has power. A lamp can be broken, but you cannot. A lamp can have missing parts, but nothing is ever missing in you. A lamp can be defective, but you are whole, perfect, and complete. Everything you need is within you. The power to create a life you want is within you. It's here for the asking. Be the place where the light shines through. So in conclusion, Dr. Holmes wrote, a new light is coming into the world. We are on the borderland of a new experience. The veil between spirit and matter is very thin. I agree with this. We are beginning a new experience. We no longer have a normal. We'll be creating a new normal this year. That new light is our willingness to expand our consciousness, to realize that we are the creators of our reality. We are creating something magnificent that benefits all of us. Margaret Storch wrote, perhaps becoming enlightened is simply a steady progression of realizing that we are, as spiritual beings, something perfectly natural, unsettling perhaps, but nothing to be feared. Namaste. Thank you. And now I want to offer an affirmation. I'm going to read it through once. And I see that Clark has put it in the chat box. I now use the power within to experience the good that God is when creating the life I want. You want to say it with me? I now use the power within to experience the good that God is when creating the life I want. And now I offer an affirmative prayer. I invite you to just go within with me and closing your eyes if it's comfortable. And taking that breath in, that breath, when you know that is the breath of the divine, that breath of God that is breathing you, you know and realize that there is one life. It is God's life, and that it is your life now. It is my life. It is each one of us live in the presence of the divine. And as we know that the divine is all powerful, perfect, whole, and complete, we know that same truth for ourselves. So I know that each one of us is blessed and encouraged to train our thoughts, train our minds, dismiss all of those thoughts that say I can't with, and replace those with thoughts I can, I will. Replace those thoughts with positive affirmations about your good and your connection to the divine, the connection to the power that exists in the universe. It is a universe that always says yes. So I know and bless each person with health challenges. I know for our health prayer right now, we have Mary, we have Karen, we have Louise, we have Emily, and I offer a prayer of wholeness to any and every one of us that may be having the challenges of health, before I know that we are healed. So just knowing that this is all powerful, all good, all God, I know that this life is God's life, and that I step bravely into the next moment. And while I am here and now, I know that there is a power and awareness for good. And I step into it. I let it be. I let it go. I bless it with an open heart. I say, thank you, Mother, Father, God. And so it is. So I still have a couple of announcements to make. I want to share a screen. And on share screen. There we go. So many of you know that we still have this building, this beautiful yellow building. And we are continuing to pay the bills for the monthly upkeep of that bill, and also all the monthly upkeep that we do for our virtual reality services. So just knowing all of this is good, I really invite you to support our church, the First Church of Religious Science. You can do that by going to our webpage, firstchurchofvallejo.org, and use online giving, PayPal, or you can check in with your bank for bill pay, or you can do it the way that many people do, which is send a check to First Church of Religious Science, 229 Springs Road, Vallejo, California, 94590, or drop it in the bookstore mail slot if you're in the neighborhood. So also what I want to share is that next week, I think many of you got in the mail this letter from Alex that talked about, Alex is the president of the board. She sent a letter that you are invited to the annual congregational first meeting, First Church of Religious Science, Vallejo, January 31st, 2021. It's going to be right after service at 11:45. So you've just, if you're on Zoom, you'll just stay on and we'll unmute everybody and you'll be part of the community meeting. Or if you're on Facebook, you can either join us on Zoom or you can stay on Facebook. And Clark, who has been monitoring and putting things into the chat box on Facebook, he is going to take